Thank you guys for being here. Just a quick recap. Last Thursday, obviously at Coastal Carolina, it was a really tough game, hard-fought game. I thought both teams played really hard. When you get on the road in conference, especially against one of the better opponents, you get opportunities to make plays on both sides, and they usually decide the game. A handful of plays, and I felt like that's kind of what happened to us last Thursday. We got off to a great start offensively, went down and scored and took the lead. And then, obviously, against one of the better defenses in our league, just kept battling, had some good drives that we didn't finish with either a penalty or not converting or so forth. But I was pleased the way we ran the football. Kamani Vidal had another big game. I thought Gunner played well and took care of the football again, which is always important. And I think our offensive line and running backs are continuing to get better and better each week. Going to need those guys as we hit this last stretch here. Defensively, other than probably 4 plays, I thought we played really well. And those 4 plays, explosive plays we gave up, looked to be the difference in the game. We continue to really harass the quarterback and play well on that side of the ball. And just disappointed on the 4 plays that we gave up. We kind of busted the coverage or busted the fit in the run game. So that's something we got to get corrected going into this week. But proud of how our guys played. Disappointed we didn't get the win on the road, but really thought, it just continues each and every week. Our team continues to get better and better against better football teams, and this week will be no different. The battle for the belt here versus South Alabama. We get to play at home. I've been on the road 5 of the last 6 weeks, so obviously that's been a challenge. It's going to feel good to play 3 games here in a row at home. South Alabama, I think, is a much improved football team, very different than they've been the last couple of years, schematically as well as personnel. I think their new head coach, Kane Womack's doing a great job of getting his philosophy in place and building the program like he wants it. I think when you look at his football team, he's a defensive guy, so obviously they're very good, very good on defense. I think our defense and theirs will be 2 of the top defenses in our league if you look at stats and all that kind of stuff. But what I see when I turn the film on is a defense that really plays physical, runs to the ball. Their defensive coordinator is Corey Batoon, who I think is doing a great job, seems to marry up very well with his head coach and defensive philosophy. Very sound. They make you earn everything. They don't give up a lot, which is, to be honest with you, that's I think the key ingredient to playing good defense is making teams put drives together and snap the ball over and over. So you just don't see a ton of explosive plays. They're very sound in what they do. Their players play extremely hard. You can see that Kane has used the transfer portal to upgrade his team. They got a lot of new guys, fresh faces, who are playing well defensively. I think their safety, Trey Young, is a guy that really sticks out to me. Very physical guy, 3-year starter, veteran guy, so to speak. I think he's 3rd on the team in tackles maybe and leads their team in interceptions. So very good player, but obviously I think they've got a lot of good players on that side of the football, but I think he's a guy that I've noticed that's been around for a while. Offensively, their offense coordinator, Major Applewhite, guy that know a little bit, that's really done a nice job there, kind of recreating their offense. They're a lot different than they've been in the past. They're going to attack you down the field, create explosives in the pass game. I think, Jalen Tolbert's a guy we're very familiar with around here that is an outstanding, one of the best receivers in the country, in my opinion. He's been a really good player here around this league for a long time. I thought we did a pretty good job last year of limiting him. He still made a few plays, but I think he's the guy that we got to make sure that we have a plan for, and we don't let him run free for sure. But I think their quarterback, Jake Bentley, is playing outstanding. He seems to be making really good decisions. They're protecting him pretty well. He's another veteran guy. Obviously, was a starter at South Carolina, and then I think a year at Utah played there. So, anytime you have a veteran quarterback who's making good decisions, you have a chance. Got a big offensive line. I think Major does a really good job changing the personnel groups and the formations to try to give them an advantage. So a big challenge for our defense is going to be able to get lined up and make sure that we're where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be. Communication led to a couple of our issues last week when we gave up some explosives, so we have to make sure we communicate and everybody's on the same page. Their special teams is very solid as well. They're just a good football team all the way around. They're 5-3 for a reason. So this will be a big challenge. This will be, we're tickled to death we get to play at home, but in our league, each and every week, it's a dogfight. If you look around our league, the Sun Belt, I think every coach would say the same thing, that anybody can beat anybody each and every week. So we got to have a good week of practice. We got to improve in the areas we need to improve on that showed up last week. But I like the direction our team's headed. I think we're getting better and better each and every week. Our record, I don't think, indicates that how much improvement we're making at the moment, but at the same time, when it's all said and done, I think we'll be excited where we are. So looking forward to a good week of practice and a big rivalry game this week. Okay, questions?
Hey, Coach, it's Mike and Troy. You had another big performance out of Kamani. What you see out of him obviously gave you guys a good chance to win.
Yeah, you know what? Kamani's obviously a really talented guy, and the last few weeks we've been able to get him going. He's been healthy. That's the number one thing, and continues to run the football. He's inside the tackles very, very well. Usually makes the first man miss, protecting the ball. I think our offensive line's improving as well, which is obviously making us be able to run the football better. But always excited. Kamani's a complete back. He can catch it. He can pass pro and obviously run the football. So, for us to be successful, I think when you look at the numbers, he needs to get plenty of touches, and that'll be our plan as we play out this last half of the season.
Hey, Coach, Adam Solomon. Like you mentioned, you guys have basically been on the road the last month and a half or so. You had the bye week in there as well. How much value is there to not only returning home, but it's your first normal weekly schedule in the past few weeks?
Yeah, I think that's big. I mean, I think just being at home is probably the biggest thing. If you play here at the Vet, we have a special setting here. Our students are outstanding, and obviously our fans show up and they're loud. So that's when you throw the band and all the things that go along with it. It just makes for a great atmosphere, and our players are very comfortable playing here at home. I know they look forward to that. But I think the week schedule, getting back to a normal Saturday game preparation, in college football is such a routine-oriented deal, that the players work better on routine. I think that's, and probably coaches as well. So that is nice to get back to playing a Saturday game, get to play a day game too at 2:30 here, which is another thing I know our players look forward to, not sitting around all day waiting to play. So a lot of good things going into this week, a lot of things to look forward to. Two good football teams, both of us working toward that bowl eligibility, and still in the opportunity to with some help maybe get in the conference race there in the championship. So just a lot of good things going. I think it starts with a good week of practice, and that'll start today, obviously.
Hey, Chip, this is John and Dothan. Just to piggyback on that question a little bit, this is a time of year it really becomes a grind. Where do you feel like y'all are mentally, and how do you keep that edge and to keep pushing to what you're trying to do?
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a lot longer than a high school season, so some of our younger players, they learn very quickly. It's a whole different thing. But I think our bye week came at a great time. I think if you think back, I'm pretty sure last year our bye week was maybe after week 2. It was really early. So I think the bye week couldn't have come at a better time for us, give us a chance to rejuvenate and recharge our batteries a little bit. Health-wise, we know we're a little banged up in a couple spots, just like everybody, but we've been pretty lucky there. But I think getting back to playing in a normal routine for the next, 4 weeks, looks like, I think that's an advantage for us. And the bye week, like I said, couldn't come at a better time. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Thanks.
Coach, it's Justin.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Justin, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I'm having some internet issues here. Jake Bentley, you mentioned him a little bit. He's an Alabama kid, went to South Carolina. I know he was from the Opelika area. Were you any talks with him when you were at Auburn? Was that before your time there, though, with him?
I was there in 2013 when he was probably, I think, a freshman or a sophomore. He came to camp there. We offered him there at camp on the spot. Obviously, his dad's a longtime coach as well, so Bobby Bentley knew him very well. Always known Jake and thought the world of him, and think he's a really good football player. Then by the time I got back there in 2017, he was already over there at South Carolina, so didn't get involved in that recruiting much at all. although we may have been at that time one of the early guys, the first guys to offer him at a young age. But, from a recruiting standpoint, not much really.
Was there any talks recently with him transferring to South, looking at getting him to Troy? Did you have any communication with him heading into this season?
We kind of had our guy already, so we didn't, but knew his family very well. Maybe the year before, before he went to Utah, we might have had some discussions on that. Of course, that was before the one-time transfer deal. That was before, things have changed a little bit. So there was always that element to get around. But probably before he went to Utah, definitely had some conversations, knowing his family and so forth. But, he made that decision to go out there, and looks like he's landed on his feet pretty well now.